Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I won't steal your snacks. Bai Ye said with a little embarrassment. Then, Bai Ye and Sai Lu led everyone to a mountain forest. This kind of place is easy to encounter dangerous species, and it is a very suitable place for their training. Having arrived at the place, Bai Ye stopped. He immediately said to everyone, "Next, Class A and Class B should not be too far apart, so that they can support the other team in time. Sai Lu and I will only intervene when you are on the verge of life and death. The rest of the time is up to you." "Yes. We understand." Everyone nodded. However, they actually didn't have much hope for this, because the previous managers never cared about their lives. Even if the current manager may be different from the previous one, they dare not take it too seriously, and they still have to be mentally prepared for the worst case. Then Class A and Class B acted separately, but they were not far apart from each other. The training goals set by Bai Ye for them were also to be completed independently by both classes, that is, Class A needs to hunt 10 level 2 dangerous species, 5 level 1 dangerous species and 1 special dangerous species, and Class B does the same, and Bai Ye and Sai Lu naturally accompanied them. Soon, Class A, led by Hei Tong, encountered a level 3 dangerous species first, but level 3 dangerous species were not within the scope of their training targets. "Don't worry about it, just let me clean it up," Bai Ye said immediately. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed towards the level 3 dangerous species at high speed, and slashed the huge head with the black and white swords in his hands. Ding! The host hunted a level 3 dangerous species and received a reward, 3 system points. Bai Ye helped them clear this obstacle and also gained system points. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the people in Class A widened slightly. Although it was only a level 3 dangerous species with weaker strength, they could also see that the commander's skills were extraordinary. It seems that although the commander is very young, he still has certain strength, but he should not be able to beat the previous elite group manager Goziki. After all, Goziki is both the previous generation of the 4 Rakshasa ghosts and the imperial tool user. At the same time, Bai Ye's behavior made them feel that this leader was too kind. If it were the previous manager, he would definitely not care about such things, and would just let them kill all the way, which would add a lot of difficulty to them. However, Bai Ye just thought that the 4th and 3rd level dangerous species would affect the training efficiency, and he could also get a lot of system points by the way. On the other hand, Sai Yu did the same as Bai Ye. She was responsible for expelling the 4th and 3rd level dangerous species outside the training target range. Justice, execution. That the expression on Sai Yu's face was still as morbid and twisted as always. With one sword, she chopped the head of the dangerous species into the air, looking more brutal than the dangerous species. After this period of physical training, her physical skills have become stronger, and her strength and speed are obviously stronger than before. Xiaobi hung on Seilu's neck like a pendant, as if Seilu felt that it was unnecessary for Xiaobi to work hard in the face of such a weak evil. Although Bai Ye had advised Seilu to look at others objectively before, he never said that he should look at dangerous species objectively, so all dangerous species were regarded as evil by Seilu. Dangerous species themselves are not something to be looked at objectively. If they threaten the survival of mankind, then they should be killed. Why do I feel Chief Seilu looks a little scary? No wonder he can become our chief. It turns out that he is not as simple as he looks on the surface. So scary, I definitely don't want to be punished by Chief Seilu. Even these children in the assassination team who are used to killing feel palpitations at the sight of Seilu. Then, Class A and Class B began to encounter dangerous species of level 2 and above. At this time, Bai Ye noticed that everyone behind him took out a small white pill from their pockets at the same time and put the pill into their mouths. The enhanced group that relies on injecting drugs to become stronger, do they have to keep taking drugs to maintain their abilities later? Bai Ye guessed in his heart. He didn't know enough information, so he didn't know the specific situation. At first, Hei Tong didn't use the ability of Hafu easily, but simply used the knife Hafu to deal with dangerous species. Because the ability of Hafu to control corpse puppets consumes a lot of physical strength, it must be used when necessary. Such as when encountering a strong enemy. As an imperial weapon, Hafu is definitely much stronger than ordinary weapons in terms of sharpness and firmness, and it is also very powerful when used simply as a weapon, as the members of Class A hunted 3 level 2 dangerous species and a first level dangerous species. Bai Ye has a clearer understanding of everyone's strength. In short, the overall strength of Class A is very good, and no one is particularly lagging behind. Maybe those who have been lagging behind have been punished long ago. There is one person with the most outstanding strength, that is Hei Tong, who is not only extremely capable, but also very calm in battle, and this is without using the ability of 8 rooms to control corpses. Of course, the overall strength of Class B is not bad. In order to balance the combat power of Class A and Class B, Bai Ye assigned more servants to Class B, because there is an imperial weapon user Hei Tong in Class A who is too strong. Ding. The host hunted a 4th level dangerous species and received a reward, 1 system point. Ding. The host hunted a 3rd level dangerous species and received a reward, 3 system points. As time passed, Bai Ye had also gained a lot of points. Class A completed its training goal a little faster than Class B, hunting 1 more dangerous species at the 1st level than Class B. Now it was getting dark, and Bai Ye planned to let everyone camp on the spot. Everyone's performance today was remarkable. Class A hunted 7 dangerous species at the 2nd level and 3 dangerous species at the 1st level. Although Class B hunted 1 less dangerous species at the 1st level, it was also worthy of praise. At this time, everyone was gathered around a campfire, and Bai Ye was summarizing the results of today's training. Dangerous species at the 1st and 2nd levels were not difficult to deal with for the assassins trained by the assassination team. At most, some people were slightly injured. However, the special dangerous species were the real test. Captain Bai Ye, aren't you the strict type? At this time, Kelly, the captain of Class B, couldn't help asking. Because they had been in a state of high tension before, they were afraid that they would be punished if they were not careful. Suddenly meeting such a friendly commander made them a little uncomfortable. Strict or not, there must be a limit. You didn't make any mistakes, why should I be so strict? Bai Ye replied. This. Kelly didn't know what to say for a moment. This officer was indeed completely different from the previous officers. If it was the previous officer, even if their Class B progressed only a little slower than Class A, they would be severely scolded or even punished. However, at this moment, Bai Ye suddenly stood up because he vaguely sensed something strange. Hei Tong also clenched the 8 rooms in his hand and reminded everyone, there is a dangerous species coming, it may be a special dangerous species. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Bai Ye immediately looked in the direction where the noise came from. Although the dense forest blocked his view, he could still vaguely see the figure of the dangerous species. Bai Ye looked closely and found that it seemed to be a plant-type dangerous species, and its body was abnormally huge. It was larger than the 1st and 2nd level dangerous species he had seen before, and it was indeed very likely to be a special dangerous species. Prepare for battle, be careful. Bai Ye immediately said to everyone in a deep voice. Everyone nodded solemnly, facing the existence of a possible special dangerous species. Their expressions were very solemn. They had to hunt the target smoothly and ensure that they would not be seriously injured, otherwise they would be executed. This thinking of theirs was almost deeply rooted. Soon, the special dangerous species appeared in front of them. It was a strange-looking dangerous species with a dark green body. It was so strange that it was hard to tell what kind of plant it was. It was more than 10 meters tall, and there was no obvious lethal part on its body. It could move quickly relying on its special roots. This is green cheese, it is indeed a super dangerous species. Seiryu was the first to recognize this dangerous species. Be careful of the venom it sprays, it is very toxic. But it was still a little slow. When Seiryu was halfway through, Green Cheese Mouth had already sprayed green venom, and like a shower, it could spray multiple venoms at multiple points at the same time. Almost everyone dodged it safely, but a girl with twin ponytails was accidentally touched by the venom. The venom on her arm quickly penetrated into the skin and spread throughout the body along the blood vessels. Ah! No, don't. I don't want to die yet. Dark green stripes began to appear on her skin, which was a sign of poisoning. Immediately, she could feel her whole body becoming sore and weak. In fact, the poison sprayed by green cheese is much more toxic than this reaction. The normal reaction is much worse than this. If you don't take the antidote within a few minutes, you will die of heart failure. Even if you take the antidote in time, there will be certain sequelae. The longer the poisoning time, the more serious the sequelae, but because of the drug, the girl with twin ponytails is not as toxic as ordinary people. She will not be easily poisoned to death, and the speed of her body's weakening has also been reduced a lot, but what she is afraid of is not being poisoned to death, but a series of sequelae after taking the antidote, which are almost irreversible. It will affect her physical ability, and she will be punished if it is below the prescribed standard. Quick! Give Yasha the antidote, Kelly said hurriedly. Fortunately, they carry a lot of antidotes with them, and there is an antidote that can deal with green cheese. I'll be there right away. One of the boys finally found the antidote after searching in his backpack. He immediately fed the antidote to Yasha, and Yasha fell asleep. I don't know if Yasha's sequelae are serious or not, and whether her body can still reach the standard of avoiding punishment. The boy said worriedly. There is no time to think about this now, let's get rid of that bastard dangerous species first, Kelly said with a gloomy face. He felt that this time, they would most likely lose another companion. Yes, the boy gently put Yasha on the ground to let her rest, holding a sharp sword and preparing to work with everyone to deal with the special dangerous species. When Haitong saw Yasha's situation, he frowned and his eyes flashed with cold murderous intent. 8 rooms. Seeing her companions being hurt, she decisively used the power of the imperial weapon 8 rooms to avenge Yasha. At the same time, Bai Ye and Sai Lu watched the battle from the side. They would only intervene when someone's life was in danger. Master, are we okay like this? Sai Lu was a little worried about everyone. No problem, they are specially trained by the Imperial Assassination Corps. If they can't even deal with the special dangerous species, how can they deal with the night attack? Bai Ye said calmly. The strength of the special dangerous species is probably similar to that of the general Imperial tool users, far stronger than the general Minister tools users. The ability of these people in the Assassination Corps is close to that of the general Minister tools users even without the Minister tools. Those who have the Minister tools are even stronger, especially the Imperial tool user Haitong. If they can't kill the special dangerous species, it's unreasonable. At this time, it happened that Haitong used the power of the Imperial Tool 8 rooms and instantly summoned 5 corpse dolls. The names of these 5 corpse dolls in their lifetime were Natera, Duoya, Wall, Hunter and Locke, and they didn't look like corpses on the surface. At present, the corpses of the 8 rooms dolls. No picture of Natera, but these are indeed dead people, with only a very weak self-awareness derived from their obsessions in life, and they obey Haitong's orders absolutely. However, these corpse dolls can still exert their full strength before they were born. Doya, wearing northern ethnic costumes, holding 2 guns, cooperated with Senna, who used the gun-type servant Prometheus, to pierce the mouth of green cheese. Natera is a light blonde young man wearing a white mask and white clothes. He is responsible for protecting Haitong's safety, because when controlling the corpse doll, Haitong's own strength will be greatly reduced. Under the siege of the others, the super dangerous green cheese soon died. Let me end it myself. At this time, Haitong walked towards the green cheese. The corpse dolls controlled by her are naturally very obedient. The rest of the companions also stopped attacking Lucky's, because they knew the power of the Imperial weapon 8 rooms and knew that Haitong wanted to turn Lucky's into a corpse puppet. Then, Haitong ended Lucky's life with a single knife. The blade of 8 rooms suddenly changed, and the black mysterious spell poured into Lucky's body, and Lucky's was immediately transformed into a corpse puppet by 8 rooms. After the battle, Haitong immediately took back all the corpse puppets, including Lucky's, into 8 rooms, because continuously controlling so many corpse puppets would cause her great physical exhaustion. But before everyone had time to breathe a sigh of relief, another special dangerous species suddenly appeared. An extremely large black giant scorpion broke out of the ground, with a body length of several meters, and its huge mouth could swallow a person directly. The target to be attacked was a girl who was closest to it. Because the incident happened too suddenly, even Haitong did not have time to summon a corpse puppet to save the girl. Run! Haitong, who reacted the fastest, immediately shouted to the girl, but it was too late. The speed of the super dangerous species was much faster than that of the girl. The girl looked at the black giant scorpion with horror and despair, and she did not notice the sudden space fluctuations in front of her that were difficult to detect with the naked eye. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Ye reacted the moment the black giant scorpion broke out of the ground. This must be a super dangerous species, otherwise it would not have such a strong ability to conceal its breath. Bai Ye had not noticed that there was such a dangerous species underground. There is no doubt that the children will be in danger of their lives, and he must intervene. If he ran, it would be too late, so Bai Ye decisively used the pupil technique of double divine power. The ability to open the space portal is possessed by both eyes, not the left eye or the right eye. It is just that one can open the space portal at a long distance, and the other is at a close distance. Then Bai Ye, who has double divine power, can use both eyes at the same time. The divine power of the right eye will transfer himself to the divine power space, while the divine power of the left eye will open the space door at a distance. In addition, the double divine power can greatly increase the speed of teleporting himself, so Bai Ye can almost achieve the same effect as teleportation. As for why he didn't use the left eye's offensive pupil technique, the left eye's long-range attack is indeed very strong, but it can only tear off limbs. It is difficult to kill this kind of large and strong super dangerous species with one blow. If he fails to kill the black giant scorpion in 1 second, not only will his pupil power be wasted, but he will also be too late to save the girl. So for the sake of prudence, Bai Ye chose to teleport himself over to ensure the girl's safety. In an instant, Bai Ye teleported out of the space gate in the distance, as if he appeared out of thin air between the girl and the black giant scorpion. The black and white sword slashed at the head of the black giant scorpion head-on. The black giant scorpion could not react to the sudden appearance of the human in front of it, and it was caught off guard and its head was severely injured. It has to be said that the defense of the super dangerous species is really strong, especially the type of black giant scorpion covered with shells all over its body. Bai Ye failed to directly cut off the head of the black giant scorpion. Captain Bai Ye, that the girl behind Bai Ye finally reacted. Hide first. Bai Ye reminded immediately. The girl immediately retreated to her companions. The black giant scorpion's head was severely injured, making it stiff for a while, but the head immediately regenerated at a speed visible to the naked eye. It can be seen that although this black giant scorpion does not have any tricky killing methods, its defense and regeneration capabilities are extremely troublesome. Taking advantage of the fact that the black giant scorpion's head has not yet regenerated, Bai Ye attacked again. It was rare for him to use the ability of the two-sword flow of his subordinate weapon, using the black and white double swords to slash quickly, and his movements were very smooth and skillful, just like a real two-sword flow master. Bai Ye's burst of energy not only successfully cut off the black giant scorpion's head, but also dismantled the two large pincers of the black giant scorpion. Dead. This damn dangerous creature suddenly came out from the ground, and it almost succeeded. But how did Commander Bai Ye get here just now? Wasn't he originally with Commander Sai Lu? Commander Sai Lu just came here. I don't know. It happened suddenly just now, and I didn't notice Commander Bai Ye's movements. It felt like he moved instantly. This speed is too exaggerated. While everyone was still in shock, Sai Lu rushed to Bai Ye's side with Xiao Bai. In fact, only 3 or 5 seconds had passed just now. Bai Ye's reaction and movements were too fast. Do you want my help, Master? Evil doesn't look dead yet. Sai Lu said to Bai Ye. Just as Sai Lu said, even at this point, the black giant scorpion is still not dead. Fortunately, Bai Ye didn't choose to use the long-range attack of the left eye's divine power, because at most he could only twist off the black giant scorpion's head, and then the girl must have died just now. No, I want to see if this guy can regenerate after being turned into a pile of minced meat. Bai Ye responded in a flat tone. Mainly, he needed to kill the black giant scorpion himself to get system points. He didn't want Sai Lu to take the head, otherwise his efforts would be in vain. His eyes suddenly became fierce, and the slashing speed of the black and white swords in his hands not only did not slow down at all, but became faster. Soon, the black giant scorpion turned into pieces of minced meat. Basically, when half of its body was chopped off by Bai Ye, it was completely dead. Ding. The host hunted a super dangerous species and received a reward, 20 system points. Although it was quite laborious to kill the black giant scorpion, the harvest was quite good, system points, 46. Bai Ye opened the system panel with his mind and saw that he had accumulated another 46 system points, ding. The host exchanged physique * 26 and deducted system points * 26. Ding. The host redeemed strength * 10, deducted system points * 10. Ding. The host exchanged agility * 10, and deducted system points * 10. Strength, 40, agility, 40, constitution, 90. The distribution of system points was completed in a flash, and Bai Ye turned around and said to everyone, "It's just right to change dinner to scorpion meat. The meat of super dangerous species should be more delicious." Everyone thought that Chief Bai Ye was going to scold them, but he didn't mention this at all, but talked about dinner. At this time, Yasha, who was previously injured by the green cheese venom, has gradually woken up. "Yasha. How do you feel?" Kelly immediately said with concern. The others also gathered around, they were all very concerned about Yasha's physical condition. Yasha felt her body and found that she was obviously much weaker than before. She immediately covered her eyes with the back of her right hand and couldn't help shedding tears, because with her current physical condition, she would definitely not meet the standards set by the assassination team. After returning from this training, she would be punished. She didn't want to die yet, but this was the cruel reality. There had never been a precedent of survival before her. As long as it was below the standard, it would be punished without exception. Seeing Yasha like this, everyone immediately understood something. They were all silent, with sad expressions on their faces, and some of them couldn't help turning around and crying secretly. Hei Tong also looked at Yasha with a sad face. Suddenly, she seemed to have made up her mind and pulled out the 8 rooms from the scabbard. "Before being punished, I will help you get rid of it, just like Natera, we can always stay together." The tone was so cold that it seemed as if she had turned black, and her expression was also a little scary. She didn't want to part with her companions, so she kept them by her side in this way. In other words, Hei Tong was going to kill Yasha with the 8 chambers by himself, and then he could make Yasha into a corpse doll. Seeing this, Kelly opened his mouth slightly and hesitated to speak, and the others were also tangled. But in the end no one stood up to stop Hei Tong, because the death of punishment is very miserable and shameful. Instead of being punished, it might be better to let Hei Tong give it a quick death, and make it into a corpse doll and continue to help everyone. Even Yasha herself accepted it. She moved her right hand away, nodded with tears in her eyes, and signaled Hei Tong to do it. However, just when Hei Tong was about to pierce Yasha's heart with the 8 chambers, her wrist was suddenly grabbed by Bai Ye, accompanied by a confused and speechless voice. "What are you thinking about, you idiot?" P.S. The 3rd update is finished, please give me some gifts. Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why, he called me stupid? Hei Tong's face suddenly turned into astonishment, and he looked at Bai Ye with a dull look. "She is not dead, but you want to use the 8 chambers to make her into a corpse doll," Bai Ye said with a confused look on his face. "You don't think I want to impose punishment on her, do you?" He knew the system of punishment, but this was not actually a system set by the big shots above, but by the managers of the previous reinforcement group. On the other hand, the managers of the previous elite group did not have this rule. None of the elite 7 were punished. They either died at the hands of powerful enemies or left the empire. In addition to the traitor Chi Tong, there are 2 other members of the elite group whose whereabouts are unknown, namely Nahaxiu and Bonnie, who also took away the water dragon sword and used pants. If Bai Ye had not taken over the assassination team, it is estimated that the punishment system would still be used until now. No wonder Hei Tong and others reacted so strangely. "Sir, my body is probably not good anymore. Please, I don't want to be punished. Let Hei Tong kill me." Yasha, who was lying on the ground, begged Bai Ye. At least she could accompany everyone in another way. Hei Tong wanted to say something, but she restrained herself. She always followed orders blindly and never rebelled against the empire, including the orders of her superiors, so she would not disobey Bai Ye. If Bai Ye insisted on ending Yasha by punishing, she would not say a word of no. So when did I say I would punish you? Bai Ye was speechless. As soon as these words came out, almost everyone was stunned. He Tong was shocked, but he didn't expect such a situation. What? Yasha was also incredible and looked at Bai Ye in astonishment. Didn't you hear clearly? The punishment system was set by your previous superior, but I won't follow his system. I have my own management system. Bai Ye said lightly. Then I. Yasha asked blankly. You will be fine. Just take good care of your injuries after you go back, or let someone escort you back now. Bai Ye said. Really? Yasha couldn't believe that she still had a chance to survive. Of course it's true. There is no punishment system here. You just need to train normally. If you are injured and can't continue to fight, go back to recuperate. Don't worry about other things. Bai Ye made it clear to them all at once. Not only Yasha, but everyone was shocked when they heard Bai Ye's words. This superior, should I say he is too nice? They could actually feel warmth and kindness from this superior, which was a feeling they had never experienced before. There is another commander, Saryu, who looks scary in battle, but is very friendly when he is with them, and can talk and laugh with them. Of course, from the perspective of training cold-blooded killers, Bai Ye may not be competent for being so generous, but he doesn't care about that. He is just doing things for money, not working for the empire. It is in line with his personality to do what he wants anyway. He can't do such a cruel thing. From the perspective of normal people, they won't dispose of living people like waste, right? So. Yasha doesn't have to die. He Tong asked Bai Ye with a slightly dull look. He Tong, you are really a fool, right? I have emphasized the same topic at least twice. Bai Ye felt more and more speechless. He has explained it clearly enough. At the same time, Bai Ye found that He Tong is sometimes innocent and sometimes black. The expression of indifference and ruthlessness on his face just now, who wants to kill his companion, is not what ordinary people would have. It feels like these people in the assassination unit have been trained a little twisted by the empire. I'm not stupid. He Tong muttered in a low voice with some dissatisfaction. Everyone realized that not only would Yasha not be punished, but she could also go back to recover from her injuries. Kelly immediately reached out and pulled Yasha up. Yasha, how about I go back with you for treatment? Knowing that she didn't have to die, Yasha suddenly became much more energetic. Actually, I'm fine, I'm just weak, but I can still fight. If you can move normally, you can continue to train with us. Since Yasha was a member of Class B, Bai Ye immediately said to Sai Lu, please take care of her next time. Yes. Master. Sai Lu nodded immediately. I've been paying attention to you for a long time. Commander Bai Ye is Commander Sai Lu's master. At this time, someone asked. Yes, Master is very powerful, so I have been learning from him. Sai Lu responded. Commander Bai Ye is indeed very powerful. After Bai Ye's battle with the special dangerous species just now, everyone has been impressed by Bai Ye's strength. At such an exaggerated speed, none of them could react. The most important thing is Bai Ye's kindness, which completely impressed them. Let's prepare dinner now and continue training tomorrow morning. However, we may be attacked by dangerous species tonight. Class A and Class B will take turns to stand guard when we go to bed. Bai Ye said to everyone. Oh. Leave the ingredients to me. I know what kind of seasoning can make scorpion meat more delicious. Now everyone is in a relaxed and happy mood, and they work together to prepare dinner. At this time, Bai Ye was using the firewood that had been chopped to make a fire, and the fire he just made was naturally made by drilling wood. With his current strength, drilling wood to make a fire is not a difficult task. At this time, He Tong suddenly came over and sat down next to him. It seemed that he had something to ask him, but he didn't speak for a long time, but looked at him quietly. What's the matter? Bai Ye had to ask. Nothing, I just find it a little unbelievable that Commander Bai Ye is completely different from the previous commander. He Tong raised his head slightly and looked at the night sky, and said softly. Obviously, I am the normal person's thinking. How crazy was your previous commander? but I seem to be very strange. Bai Ye sighed slightly with a little helplessness. There are so many abnormal people in this empire that normal people seem strange. Hei Tong was silent for a while. If the previous commander was you, maybe my sister would not betray us. When she thought of her sister, she couldn't help but hug her knees with both hands, looking a little pitiful and helpless. Chapter 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's hard to say. Bai Ye said, your sister is Akame, right? Didn't she tell you when she left? Speaking of which, he began to care about the name Akame, because this world is Kill the Red Eyes, so Akame should be the protagonist of this world. Bai Ye will pay special attention to it. Once he meets Akame, he must not be careless. After all, the protagonist has a protagonist halo. Yes, my sister persuaded me for a long time, but I refused. I will not betray the empire, nor do I want to betray my dead and living companions. Hei Tong said firmly. Is that so? Then you can only be the enemy of Akame. Bai Ye said. That's right, so I will kill my sister with my own hands, so that she can stay with me forever. Hei Tong blackened like Yasha before, and even looked more sickly. If the 8th house kills Akame personally, it can indeed keep Akame around forever, but Akame is already dead, so what's the point? Bai Ye couldn't understand this. Is this really good? The corpse doll made after being killed by the 8th house should not have any consciousness before death, right? Well, only some obsessions before death will remain, but that is just the instinctive reaction of the corpse doll, and it has no consciousness itself. Hei Tong said, I love my sister the most, but she betrayed the empire and betrayed us. I want her to become a member of the 8th house and never leave me again. Bai Ye hesitated to speak. After all, this was a private matter between the sisters Akame and Hei Tong, and he was just an outsider, and it was not appropriate for him to interfere too much in other people's private affairs. Soon the ingredients were ready. Part of the scorpion meat was used for stewing soup, and part of the scorpion meat was used for roasting. Such a large special dangerous species is enough for more than 20 people to have a full meal. Everyone enjoyed dinner while talking and laughing. Master, try this. I roasted it myself. At this time, Sai Lu handed a bunch of scorpion meat to Bai Ye. However, looking at her action, it seemed that she wanted to feed Bai Ye with her own hands, rather than let Bai Ye take it. Bai Ye didn't mind and ate a small piece of scorpion meat. Is it delicious? Sai Lu asked Bai Ye expectantly. Yeah, it's delicious. Bai Ye nodded. He. Sai Lu smiled happily. Captain Sai Lu and Captain Bai Ye have a good relationship. Yasha couldn't help but sigh. Her sequelae are not light, nor serious, it's that her body functions have been damaged by toxins, and there is another sequelae that will accompany her for life, that is, the recovery speed and improvement speed of her body functions will become extremely slow, but it does not affect normal actions, but her strength is much worse than before. Not only Yasha, but others also have this feeling. Of course, after all, I like Master the most, Sai Lu said directly. There was not even a hint of shyness on her face. Bai Ye did not expect Sai Lu to say such words suddenly. It was just like a confession, but when he saw the innocent expression on Sai Lu's face, he felt that it was not what he thought. Wow! Is this a confession? This is definitely a confession, right? Captain Sai Lu is really amazing. He actually expressed his love so boldly. To be honest, I am a little envious. It makes me want to have a relationship, but unfortunately I don't have the chance. Everyone exclaimed. On the other hand, as a member of the Empire's assassination force, they were basically forced to give up this aspect of their feelings. Even the sister relationship of Akame and Kurome cannot stay in the same team, let alone love between men and women. This is even more not allowed, but I don't know if the new commander will allow them. Realizing that they might have misunderstood, Bai Ye immediately said, actually, what she wanted to express was not what you imagined. As Bai Ye said, Sai Lu did not understand what they were saying at this time. She was too naive, but at the same time, she also had an extremely terrifying side. In her eyes, the world was either justice or evil, and it could be said that she viewed the world in black and white. She would only listen to Bai Ye's advice. At this time, there was a girl with long blue hair in the team. She was curious and wanted to confirm it, so she asked Sai Lu, that. Commander Sai Lu, I would like to ask if you want to date Commander Bai Ye. Dating? What does that mean, thoughts? Sai Lu asked back with a puzzled look. The blue-haired girl shook her head awkwardly. Nothing, nothing. She was amazed at how innocent Chief Sai Lu was. The others were also shocked by Sai Lu's innocence. Bai Ye thought that it was just as he had guessed. Sai Lu hardly understood this aspect. At the same time, only Hei Tong did not participate in this matter, because she was quietly eating barbecue, as if everything other than barbecue had nothing to do with her. The night deepened. Today, after almost a whole day of searching and hunting dangerous species, everyone was ready to rest early. In the first half of the night, Class A rested first, while Class B stood guard. Of course, the second half of the night was the other way around. Bai Ye found a suitable position to lie down and squinted his eyes. He had a very light sleep, in order to be on guard against emergencies that could occur at any time, but with Sai Lu around, he was relieved. With Sai Lu's personality, being a teammate was reassuring, but being an enemy was a headache. When it was almost the second half of the night, Sai Lu planned to come over to wake Bai Ye up. She whispered in Bai Ye's ear. Master, it's time to change people. In fact, Bai Ye had already woken up when Sai Lu approached him. Okay. Bai Ye immediately stood up, not even a bit sleepy, already very awake. Class A and Class B quickly completed their rotation. They were divided into groups of 2, standing guard in various directions. Bai Ye and Hei Tong were in the same group, so he greeted Hei Tong. How was your sleep? Did you get enough sleep? Hei Tong yawned with a silly look on his face. Not bad, I should have enough energy. And the consumption from using the 8 chambers before has also been restored. Okay. Bai Ye nodded slightly, and then said nothing more. After a long time, Hei Tong suddenly said, after the training is over, I want to apply to go out and go to the Saiga Cave. Saiga Cave. It seems to be a dangerous area where super dangerous species appear, right? Bai Ye had an impression of this place. He had seen it on the map. Yes, if you are lucky, there may be a super dangerous species, Destigolu, hibernating there. You can kill it with the 8 chambers while it is hibernating. Hei Tong stated his intention. But that place is too dangerous. Are you going to take the risk alone? Bai Ye said worriedly. Well, I don't want other companions to take such a big risk with me. Hei Tong nodded slightly. Then I'll go with you, at least I can take care of you. Bai Ye thought about it and suggested. But Hei Tong didn't want to implicate Commander Bai Ye, but Bai Ye immediately said, I am your commander. How can I let you do such a dangerous thing alone? Hei Tong was stunned for a moment, and then a rare smile appeared on her pretty face. Well. Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early morning, as the sky turned white, although the sun had not yet risen, the visibility was already very high. The members of Class B had also woken up. They got up early to continue the unfinished training. Yesterday's special dangerous species green cheese was hunted by Black Eyes. Class A's progress is much faster than ours, and we can't fall behind them too much. Kelly, the captain of Class B, said excitedly to everyone at this time, the current superiors are so good to us, we can't let them down. All the members of Class B nodded solemnly. Next, just like yesterday, Class A and Class B acted separately, but not too far apart, so that they could take care of each other. Sayu especially took care of Yasha, who was in a weaker body. In half a day, they encountered many dangerous species, but there were not many first and second level dangerous species, and they had not yet completed the training goal. Especially the special dangerous species have not been encountered yet, which is the most difficult of the training goals. Finally, after they completed the hunting targets of the first and second level dangerous species, they found a special dangerous species in a swamp. This is a huge spider-type dangerous species, with a black body, 2 front claws, 6 legs and 6 eyes are all red, and there are a lot of spider eggs everywhere. Once the war starts, those spider eggs will probably have countless small spiders coming out to attack them. This should be the special dangerous species, Bloodbath Mother. Its body is not too strong, but be careful of those spider eggs. There are at least thousands of small spiders with the same strength as the 4th level dangerous species. Those small spiders are the most difficult. Captain Kelly immediately reminded everyone in a low voice, it's best to kill it with one blow. As long as the mother of the bloodbath dies, those small spiders will give up resistance or flee. In short, the sooner you kill it, the better. The 4th level dangerous species is very weak, but 1,000 4th level dangerous species are completely different concepts. All the members of Class B immediately started to act, and those who had melee-type ministers rushed to the front. Senna, the only one in the team equipped with the long-range gun-type servant Prometheus, cooperated with the team members to output from a distance. This servant was actually copied from the Imperial weapon Romantic Turret Pumpkin, although it is far less powerful than the Pumpkin Cannon, and does not have the unique ability of the Pumpkin Cannon that the greater the crisis, the stronger the power, but the ability of this servant is still very good. It can perform various special shooting methods such as curved shooting and bouncing. The disadvantage is that continuous firing will reduce accuracy. It is still unlikely for them to kill this special dangerous species instantly. The startled mother of Bloodbath immediately released the small spiders and the spider eggs. A large number of small spiders appeared from all directions. It is called small spiders, but in fact it is only relative to the size of the mother of Bloodbath. Each of these small spiders is half the size of an adult. Kill it quickly. Before being surrounded by those small spiders, Kelly shouted immediately. With everyone's cooperation, they successfully hunted the mother of Bloodbath before being surrounded and killed by a large group of small spiders. With the death of the mother, the group of small spiders either stayed where they were or fled in all directions. They did not intend to hunt these small spiders, their only target was the special dangerous species. Kelly breathed a sigh of relief and said, "We are a little lucky." The special dangerous species like the mother of Bloodbath is still relatively easy to hunt as long as you understand its characteristics well enough. The others also said, "We have only completed our training goals now, and Class A is still much faster than us. Anyway, let's go back quickly, so that Yasha can recover as soon as possible." However, just as they were about to leave here, they felt the ground shaking strangely. Another dangerous species has appeared. And from the noise, there is more than one. If they are all level 1 dangerous species, it will be troublesome. Oh no! Is it because of the bloody smell here that attracted them? Should we ask for help from Class A? That everyone's face was not looking good. They were already tired from hunting all the way, and they had consumed a lot of physical strength just now in order to quickly kill the special dangerous species. Now their condition is not very good, and it is difficult to deal with multiple level 1 dangerous species. The main reason is that they don't want their companions to be killed or injured. If they want to win, they will definitely win, but it is hard to say whether there will be casualties. In a blink of an eye, those dangerous species appeared in the field of vision. Sure enough, they were all level 1 dangerous species, a total of 5. Seeing this, Kelly said decisively, "Let's ask for help, or if Commander Selu." He was about to say that if Commander Selu could take action, but at this time, Selu had already drawn the great sword on his back. "Your training goal has been achieved. You don't need to worry about these level 1 dangerous species. Just leave them to me and Xiaobi." While speaking, Selu's face became ferocious, and the murderous intent rising from her body made Kelly feel a little chilled. "The evil that dares to hurt our companions will never be spared," Selu said angrily. "Xiaobi, go and prey on those evil." That she stomped her hind feet hard, and the ground suddenly cracked. The whole person attacked like a sharp arrow that had been released from the string. Holding the great sword in one hand, she threw Xiaobi out with the other hand, because everyone thought Xiaobi was just Selu's cute pet and thought that Xiaobi's combat power was very low. When they were all worried about Xiaobi, Xiaobi suddenly turned into a monster that was even bigger than the level 1 dangerous species. There was no cute pet at all, and the look of wide-open eyes was as ferocious as the expression on Selu's face. With his own physical skills, Sayu can fight against the first-level dangerous species, and Xiaobi can even tear the first-level dangerous species apart with his bare hands. Xiaobi directly tore off the head of a 5-meter-tall bear-shaped dangerous species with his bare hands, and then threw the bear head into his mouth and chewed it a few times like eating candy. It seems that he has very good teeth and chewed the bones into pieces and swallowed them in a few times. In just a short while, Sayu killed a first-level dangerous species, and the other 4 were torn apart by Xiaobi. On the other hand, Xiaobi's injuries healed quickly. As long as the core is not destroyed, it will not die. Xiaobi's biological imperial equipment can almost match the super dangerous species, because the raw materials of many imperial equipment are super dangerous species. Even if he does not use the secret technique violent transformation, Xiaobi can still attack these first-level dangerous species with a dimensionality reduction. All the members in the back were stunned, and they were shocked by Xiaobi's cruelty. At this time, Bai Ye brought the A-class to check the situation. He heard the noise just now, but with Sailor there, he was not worried about Class B, so he did not use the double god power eye technique to rush over quickly. Master, Xiaobi and I defeated those evil. Sailor immediately took Xiaobi to Bai, looking like he wanted to be praised. Xiaobi had also turned back to his normal puppy form, and was also acting coquettishly in front of Bai, happily rubbing his head against Bai's chin. At this moment, the contrast between Sailor and Xiaobi was too strong, which made everyone in Class B dumbfounded for a while, and they couldn't recover for a long time. P.S. The third update is finished. Please give me some gifts. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Captain Sayu is so strong, but he is still the apprentice of Commander Bai Ye. In this case, how strong is Commander Bai Ye? I always feel that Commander Bai Ye has not revealed his true strength until now. We actually underestimated him before. It seems that the Empire has not given up on us. The current commander is not only stronger than the previous commander, but also treats us very well. Everyone couldn't help but exclaimed. Well done. I know you and Xiaobi can protect everyone. Bai Ye praised Sayu and Xiaobi. By the way, how is it? The training of Class B should have been completed. Bai Ye asked Sayu. Well, although the efficiency is not as good as Class A, everyone has worked hard to achieve the goal. Sayu nodded. Then let's go back. Yasha also needs to go back to recuperate. Bai Ye said. Next, everyone returned the same way. On the way back, Sayu found that everyone in Class B seemed to care about Xiaobi, who was following her. What's wrong? Do you want to play with Xiaobi? Sayu asked them immediately. No. No, we are just a little surprised that Xiaobi, who looks so cute, can fight like just now. Kelly explained awkwardly. They are a little afraid of Xiaobi now. Seeing a hint of fear on everyone's faces, Sayu picked up Xiaobi and said with a smile, Don't worry, Xiaobi is harmless to people other than bad guys. Oh. They were relieved immediately, but they thought about it again and felt something was wrong. We are not good people, are we? Back to the base. Didn't you go hunting dangerous species? You should have brought back a lot of materials from the dangerous species, and you can hand them in directly now. As soon as they returned to the base, a staff member came to find them. It seems that this is the old rule of the assassination team. Hey Tong, Kelly and others did not show any dissatisfaction, so they planned to hand it in honestly. Only Bai Ye felt a little strange. It was obviously the result of hunting dangerous species by himself, so why should he hand it in to others? Although these children can only rely on the Imperial Assassination Force now, it is inevitable that they will hand in all the results without leaving any. At this time, Bai Ye asked these staff members directly, after handing in the dangerous species materials, will they get bonuses or other treatment? No. The staff member also answered directly. This is a bit unreasonable, right? These materials are obtained by their hard work in hunting dangerous species. Bai Ye frowned slightly, but his tone was still calm. Hey Tong, Kelly and others were very surprised. Commander Bai Ye was actually fighting for them. In fact, they thought this matter was nothing. They had long passively accepted the various rules of the Imperial Assassination Force, and, for some reason, they would basically not rebel no matter what. So far, there have been no betrayers or deserters in the enhanced group. On the other hand, the elite group has a different experience from them, which may be why there are betrayers and deserters in the elite group. There are only 7 people, and there is 1 betrayer and 2 deserters. What are you talking about? They just need to obey orders. As a manager, you should know this better than us. The staff just thought Bai Ye was very strange. The previous managers were much more crazy than them. It is better to say that many rules were set by the previous managers, however, the point of handing in dangerous materials was set by them for their own interests. I don't think so. Either give them the corresponding bounty, or let them deal with the dangerous materials themselves. Bai Ye said lightly. Hearing this, the faces of the staff suddenly changed. Although they were dissatisfied with Bai Ye's approach, they really had no way to deal with Bai Ye, because Bai Ye's status in the Imperial Assassination Force is higher than theirs. There are only two choices before them, either give up or get nothing. What puzzled them the most was that the guy in front of them was obviously also a beneficiary. For example, they would give the bulk of the profits to the previous managers, and they would also cooperate with the current managers in the same way. Why should they give part of the profits to those slaves? To put it bluntly, these children are slaves working for their Imperial Assassination Forces, so why should they care about such slaves? From the training of execution killers at the beginning of the plan, the entire Imperial Assassination Force did not treat these children as human beings. I know, we will give them half of the profits from the recycling of materials. Is that okay? That the staff had to choose to make concessions, which is better than getting nothing. That's about right. Bai Ye did not push the staff too much. Then, the dangerous materials were taken away and the staff left. Captain Bai Ye, we don't actually need the bounty. It's our honor to serve the Empire. At this time, Kelly told Bai Ye frankly, mainly, he didn't want the commander to be unhappy with the staff because of them. The other team members had similar ideas. What nonsense are you talking about? These are all the benefits you deserve. Although the base will provide basic food and accommodation, don't you have to spend money when you usually play in the Imperial capital? Bai Ye said. No. Kelly was stunned and scratched his head. We have never been to the Imperial capital before, so we have no chance to spend money. Is that so? Bai Ye was a little surprised. Are we going to stay in the base except for training? Bai Ye said, that's it. You did a good job in this training. To commend you, I can give you 3 days of vacation. You can play around the Imperial capital during these 3 days, but you must ensure your safety and try not to go out at night. Recently, night raid has been very active in the Imperial capital, and it is active at night. After all, the Imperial Assassination Force is hostile to night raid and may be targeted by night raid. Huh? Really? Great. I can actually have 3 days off. There is a place in the Imperial capital that I have wanted to see for a long time. It will take 5 days to undergo regular ability enhancement again, which will not conflict with vacation. Everyone was very surprised and excitedly discussed where to go. Before this, they had never experienced the feeling of a vacation, and this time they could finally experience it. Seeing how happy they were, Bai Ye couldn't help but smile. At this moment, Hei Tong, who was standing behind him, gently pulled his sleeve. Sir, don't forget that thing, you said you would go with me. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing this, Bai Ye immediately realized that Hei Tong was talking about going to the Saiga cave to look for the hibernating super dangerous species. Of course I won't forget. Bai Ye said. Then we can set off today, or tomorrow. Hei Tong said immediately. Then let's go today. Go early and come back early. It would be best if we are still on vacation when we come back. Bai Ye hoped that Hei Tong could also enjoy a vacation. Seilu, I'll leave it to you while they are playing in the Imperial capital. At this time, Bai Ye turned to Sai Lu and said, with Sai Lu protecting them, Bai Ye can feel more at ease. No problem, just leave it to me. Seilu picked up Xiao Bai and promised, if we encounter bad guys, Xiao Bai and I will definitely judge them in the name of justice. Bai Ye immediately flicked Sai Lu's forehead with his finger. I told you not to talk about justice and evil all day long. Woo. I know. Seilu lowered his head and admitted his mistake. Afterwards, they took Yasha to recuperate first. Naturally, they went to find the experimenters in the base. Bai Ye and Sai Yu also went with them. It turned out to be the poison of the super dangerous green cheese. It doesn't look too serious. She should take the antidote as soon as possible. but it will be very difficult to recover from the weakness of her body. The effect of the drug is limited after all. If it is a general toxin, it can be offset by taking the drug directly. The experimenter was already judging Yasha's situation, she just didn't say it directly. In fact, she was surprised that Bai Ye didn't punish Yasha directly. If it was the previous manager, he would definitely do so. After all, when the punishment was carried out, their experimenters also participated. No matter how difficult it is, it's okay as long as she can recover. Next, I'll trouble you to heal her body. Bai Ye said to the experimenter. As long as you think it's okay. The experimenter nodded. Let's do this. From today on, come here every night to receive care. If you need training or have a mission, slow down to once a week. The experimenter temporarily planned for Yasha. No need to plan this way deliberately. Before her body recovers to the point where she can fight normally, she doesn't need to train or perform tasks. Bai Ye said bluntly. Okay, then do as you say. The experimenter nodded. At the same time, he felt more and more surprised, and couldn't help but say in a surprised tone, it's really strange that someone like you would appear in such a place. I'm a little helpless too. Normal people seem abnormal. Bai Ye smiled helplessly. After everyone left, the experimenter looked at Bai Ye's back, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This new manager probably didn't know much about the various things of the assassination force, she couldn't help but be a little curious. When the other party learned about the deeper dark side of the Empire's assassination force, what would he think? Captain Seilu, can I hold Hibi? In the lounge, a girl asked Seilu. Of course. Seilu threw Hibi to the girl like a doll. The girl immediately took Hibi in a hurry and carefully. Actually, Hibi is an imperial weapon. He won't hurt anyone without my order, so there's no need to be so careful. Seilu said with a smile. Seilu is very cruel to his enemies, but he also values his companions. He can be said to have no defense against his companions. He even told others that Hibi is an imperial weapon, which involves the trump card. So it's an imperial weapon. I have heard of biological imperial weapons. No wonder Hibi was so powerful at that time. Kelly sighed immediately. The scene of Hibi tearing up those dangerous species with his hands after he became huge is still very impressive to him. It can only be said that it is worthy of being an imperial weapon. Just then, Hei Tong seemed to want to start the action, so he explained to everyone. Hei Tong, have you really decided to go to the Saiga cave? It's too dangerous there. Captain Bai Ye will also accompany Hei Tong, so it should be okay. That's right, and Hei Tong is also an imperial weapon user, so nothing can threaten them except super dangerous species. It's obvious that everyone is concerned about Hei Tong. However, Hei Tong didn't say what he was going to do specifically. Don't worry, I will come back safely. Hei Tong said to everyone. Then, Bai Ye and Hei Tong prepared to set off. The Saiga cave is located in the western border area of the empire. Bai Ye and Hei Tong set out from the imperial capital, and it was too far from the Saiga cave. If riding a horse, it would take at least a few days to travel this distance, which would be a waste of time, so Bai Ye directly applied to the empire for a flying mount, that is, a first-level dangerous species of flying birds. Dangerous species can actually be tamed. The Empire has an agency specifically responsible for taming dangerous species, including ISDEath, who has done this a lot. There is a record of a special dangerous species being tamed, but as for super dangerous species, it is basically impossible. Super dangerous species, as the raw materials of many imperial tools, are not at the same level as special dangerous species. The first-level dangerous species that Bai Ye applied for is shaped like a dragonfly, but its size is large enough to allow multiple people to sit on its back, and its speed is far faster than common mounts such as horses. Are you sitting firmly? Get ready to set off. At this time, Bai Ye reminded Hei Tong. Yeah. Hei Tong grabbed Bai Ye's sleeve with one hand and said, this way you won't fall down. The other hand was still the same, with the bag of Hei Tong's snacks always on him. Bai Ye was concerned about this again. But before he could say anything, Hei Tong had already keenly noticed his gaze. Just like last time, he emphasized again with a silly face, I will never share it with you. No, I'm just a little curious, does Hei Tong like sweets so much? You have to carry them with you at all times. Bai Ye explained immediately. I do like sweets the most, but these cookies actually contain medicinal ingredients. It feels quite convenient to mix sweets and medicines together. Hei Tong replied. I see. But you are so dependent on medicine, it seems that you have to take medicine at any time. Bai Ye was more and more concerned about this medicine, and felt that it was not as simple as he thought. Well, because this is the only way to maintain body functions, and if you don't take the medicine regularly, your body will be in pain. Hei Tong said calmly. Bai Ye fell silent, listening to this description. This drug seems to have serious addiction and withdrawal reactions. The side effects are not light, and there may be other side effects. Feed me. Just then, Hei Tong suddenly asked Bai Ye. Bai Ye was a little confused for a moment. Because I can't hold the biscuits with my hands, I want you to feed me. Now Hei Tong is holding the biscuit bag in one hand and grabbing Bai Ye's sleeve with the other hand. He really has no hands to use. At this time, Hei Tong looks like a kitten waiting to be fed, and his face is very calm, or to be precise, a little dull, and he doesn't seem to feel embarrassed at all. Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although this was not a big deal, Hei Tong was able to remain calm to this extent simply because of her natural innocence. Okay. Bai Ye took out a small cookie from Hei Tong's snack bag. At this time, he could feel Hei Tong's eyes fixed on him, as if she was afraid that he would take the opportunity to steal her cookie. Don't worry, I won't steal your cookie. As he said this, Bai Ye pinched the edge of the cookie with his thumb and index finger, ready to feed it to Hei Tong. Hei Tong opened her mouth slightly and waited for the cookie to be fed. Bai Ye was also particularly careful, and when he was about to touch Hei Tong's little mouth, he let go and let the cookie slide directly into Hei Tong's mouth. After all, he and Hei Tong had just met, so he still had to pay a little attention to the sense of distance, looking at Hei Tong's cute look when eating cookies. It really felt like feeding a pet. Do you want more? Bai Ye asked. Eat 2 more. Hei Tong said. In fact, the dangerous species they were riding had already entered the flight state, but it flew very steadily. The only risk was that the wind was relatively strong. However, Bai Ye was not worried about the risk of crashing at all. With the double divine power, he had various ways to avoid risks, and it was completely fine to take Hei Tong with him. However, an accident happened not long after. In fact, it was not an accident. Since there were dangerous flying species, Bai Ye and Hei Tong were certainly not absolutely safe in the sky, isn't it? A dangerous flying species has appeared in front of them. It looks very similar to an eagle, and its flying speed seems to be faster than their first-level dangerous species, especially the long and sharp eagle beak and claws, which look very lethal. Sure enough, it can't be smooth sailing all the way. Bai Ye sighed immediately. This is also a first-level dangerous species. It's not easy for me to fight in the air, but I can let Douya come out and use double guns to deal with it. As he said, Hei Tong prepared to use the 8 rooms in his hand. Douya is one of the 8 houses and the only one with long-range means. No need to bother. Bai Ye said lightly. The next moment, his left eye suddenly glared with bloodshot, focusing on the neck of the dangerous species. Although the dangerous species was flying at high speed, Bai Ye relied on his insight to predict its flying speed and direction. After all, space distortion is not truly instantaneous. Even if the power of the 2 eyes greatly speeds up the speed of space distortion and space transmission, it cannot be truly instantaneous, so a certain amount of prediction is required. However, this prediction is not difficult for the Mangekyō Sharingan. With the high-speed distortion of space, the dangerous species that was attacking Bai Ye and his men at high speed suddenly had its neck twisted off. The principle is that the neck section is transferred into the power space, and the dangerous species is separated from the body, and the body and head fall directly from the sky. Level 1 dangerous species generally do not have any special abilities, such as particularly strong vitality and regeneration ability, so long-range attacks with the power of the left eye can basically handle it. Ding. The host hunted a level 1 dangerous species and received a reward, 10 system points. What just happened? He Tong suddenly said in a surprised tone. She didn't even see Bai Ye take action, and the dangerous species suddenly died. Nothing, just think of it as one of my abilities. Bai Ye said casually. The secret of double divine power must not be easily exposed. When others don't know the information of double divine power, it can be said to be invincible. At least, he can always be invincible. The only flaw of double divine power besides the terrifying consumption is probably that the duration of virtualization is not infinite. A single right eye divine power can only last for 5 minutes of virtualization, and he who has double eye divine power seems to last more than 5 minutes. He has not determined whether the upper limit is 10 minutes or how much, but he knows that when he took his death to avoid the special dangerous species at the beginning, it must have exceeded 5 minutes, but this is just a trivial flaw. As long as no one knows this information, he can refresh the duration by turning off and then turning on void on his own initiative. So it can be said that it is infinitely void without anyone knowing. Is that so? Then it should be the ability of the imperial device. Is it your eyes? Although I haven't heard of eye-type imperial devices. He Tong's consciousness is still very sharp. She has long felt that Chief Bai Ye's eyes are not simple. Her sister Akame's blood eyes are natural, but Chief Bai Ye's blood eyes don't look like they are natural. There are also strange patterns in his eyes. After all, Isthetha's blood-type imperial device essence of the devil. The mark is the mark on the chest, and it is not surprising that the strange pattern in Bai Ye's blood-red eyes is considered to be the mark of the imperial weapon. Bai Ye did not answer or deny this. Even if they used a dangerous bird species as a mount, it took several hours to reach the location of the Saiga cave. When they arrived, it was almost evening. After landing, Bai Ye and He Tong had to sneak on foot. It was not convenient to sneak with such a big dangerous species. Just wait for us here. At this time, Bai Ye gently patted the head of the dangerous species. Although the dangerous species did not understand what he said, the tamed dangerous species had naturally received special training and would not run around. The Saiga cave is in front. Let's go in before dark. At least we will not be attacked by dangerous species outside the cave. He Tong pointed to the limestone area ahead and said, in that kind of big cave, it makes no difference whether it is day or night. Without lighting, you can't see anything. Bai Ye and He Tong brought special lighting with them this time. Then, the two went deep into the Saiga cave. Before entering the entrance of the Saiga cave, they didn't see a single person. This kind of place where super dangerous species may appear can almost be said to be a place of death. Generally, no one would come to such a dangerous place. They didn't encounter many dangerous species, because the stronger the dangerous species, the stronger the territorial awareness, and no dangerous species dared to appear. The territory of super dangerous species. Not long after entering the cave, it was pitch black in front of us. Bai Ye and He Tong then took out a night shining pearl each. This night shining pearl is quite special. It is made of the eyes of a certain super dangerous species. It is extremely bright and there is no need to worry about sudden power failure. The deeper you go into this bottomless cave, the more corpses you can see. Most of them are dangerous species, and a few are human corpses. He Tong's hand never leaves the handle of Ba Fong to deal with unexpected situations that may occur at any time. P.S. The third update is finished. Please give me some gifts. Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. These corpses look quite old, and there are many corpses of large dangerous species. It seems that there are indeed super dangerous species here, but it is not certain whether it is hibernating or has moved to another habitat. Bai Ye analyzed in a low voice. It may be the size of the super dangerous species. Even though it has been deep in the Saiga cave for so long, the road ahead is still very open. Go down to the deepest part and you will know. He Tong's attitude is very firm, even though she knows that this move is very dangerous, but she must expand the power of her 8 rooms as soon as possible, otherwise she will not be able to defeat her sister. As they go deeper, Bai Ye and He Tong's body temperature is gradually decreasing. Suddenly I feel a little cold. He Tong immediately noticed it. Low temperature can also affect the performance of human body functions. For example, in the low-temperature environment of the 100-meter race, the athlete's performance will not be as good as usual. not to mention that the low temperature deep in the cave will be more serious. However, Haitong is special and can offset the negative effects of low temperature by taking drugs. What she wants to eat now is the kind of pills, not the biscuits with a small amount of drug ingredients. Biscuits can only maintain body functions, while pills can forcibly improve abilities in a short period of time. Correspondingly, the side effects of pills are more serious. Seeing Haitong take out a white pill and prepare to take it, Bai Ye immediately took off his coat and put it directly on Haitong. Bai Ye's sudden move made Haitong stunned for a moment, and the pill in his hand had not yet been put into his mouth. These drugs should have very serious side effects. If possible, I hope you try not to rely too much on them. Bai Ye explained his intentions. He planned to find out about these drugs after returning to the base this time. He really wanted to know what the Empire did to the children of these assassination troops. Haitong's mouth opened slightly, wanting to say something but stopping. She took the pill back obediently, put on the coat that Bai Ye gave her, and whispered, "Thank you. This feeling is not bad." Now it was just a matter of low temperature. There was really no need to rush to take drugs, but she was used to taking drugs, so she was too casual. But if she encountered an unsolvable crisis later, she would definitely take the pills without hesitation. The deepest part of the Saga cave was deeper than Bai Ye had imagined, and it took him an unknown amount of time to finally see the bottom. He had not encountered any dangerous species along the way, and the more so, the more it showed that there were incredible guys at the deepest part. Thanks to the Mangekyō Sharingan, Bai Ye was the first to see the situation at the bottom clearly. As expected, there was a super dangerous species at the bottom. Although Bai Ye had never seen a super dangerous species, this big guy was much larger than the special dangerous species he had seen before, and it was roughly estimated to be at least 100 meters high. It should be the Destigolu that Haitong had mentioned before. Fortunately, this super dangerous species seemed to be hibernating, lying on the ground motionless. The appearance is very unique, very much like a dinosaur, and there is no skin or flesh on the body, only white bones, and even the eyes are two dark holes. If it weren't for the heavy breathing sound, this skeleton could easily be mistaken for a dead thing. Super dangerous species Destigolu. I have seen it. It is hibernating. Let's go down carefully and don't wake it up. At this time, Bai Ye reminded Haitong in a low voice. Well. Haitong nodded slightly. At the same time, she was very excited because she won the bet, and her luck can be said to be quite good. This is a super dangerous species. Once the super dangerous species becomes a member of the 8 rooms, her overall strength will be able to advance by leaps and bounds. Bai Ye and Haitong went down to the bottom very cautiously, and the super dangerous species was right in front of them. This is indeed Destigolu. I'm going to do it. Haitong deliberately lowered his voice and slowly pulled out the 8 rooms from the scabbard. Bai Ye was observing the situation from the side. If anything unexpected happened, he could react immediately. With Haitong's strength alone, it was impossible to kill this super dangerous species instantly, so she decisively summoned the corpse puppet of 8 rooms. At least she had to make Destigolu seriously injured and dying, so that she could use 8 rooms to give the final blow. Before the battle began, Haitong subconsciously wanted to take drugs again, so that she could exert her greatest strength. Seeing this, Bai Ye immediately stopped her. As a person who does not take drugs, I'll help you if you agree to the conditions. Haitong looked at Bai Ye with a stunned face. She didn't expect that he would not let her take the pills at this time. Also, lend me the 8th chamber for a while. Bai Ye directly extended his hand to Haitong. He couldn't do this for nothing. There must be some benefits. If he used Haitong's 8th chamber to kill super dangerous species, he could get a lot of system points as rewards, and Haitong could also enhance the power of the 8th chamber, which was the best of both worlds. This. Haitong struggled a little, although according to common sense, the Emperor's equipment user could not easily lend his own Emperor's equipment to others, but the other party was his superior and the object he should absolutely obey. Just then, Haitong suddenly thought of another thing. Wait. You are already an Emperor's equipment user, you can't use the second Emperor's equipment at the same time. It doesn't matter to me. Bai Ye said lightly. His double divine power has never been an imperial weapon, so it naturally does not violate the so-called iron rule of imperial weapons. While speaking, Bai Ye directly grasped the handle of 8 rooms with his hand and took 8 rooms from Haitong's hand. The moment he touched 8 rooms, he suddenly had an obvious and indescribable discomfort. This was probably the rejection reaction of the imperial weapon. People who are not suitable for a certain imperial weapon cannot exert the full power even if they forcefully use that imperial weapon. To be precise, their power will be greatly reduced. Even worse, it will be like Isdetha's blood-type imperial weapon. Everyone except Isdeth went crazy after trying it. Of course, that essence of the devil is an individual case, and normal imperial weapons are not so exaggerated. In short, Bai Ye cannot exert the full power of 8 rooms. After all, he is not of the same personality as Hei Tong, and it is impossible for him to perfectly fit Hachifu like Hei Tong, but it doesn't matter to him. In his eyes, this is just a tool that carries the power of divine power. The next moment, Bai Ye directly attached the power of divine power to the Hachifu sword. Just like enchanting a weapon, this allows Hachifu to exert the effect of divine power, that is, an absolute attack that ignores all physical defenses. P.S. Let me talk about the previous setting error here. I accidentally remembered the combat power level of the dangerous species incorrectly. The correct level division from weak to strong should be, level 4, level 3, level 2, level 1, special, super. I remembered the levels below special wrong before. I will take the time to correct the mistakes one by one today.